Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, episode 192. I think it's 192.
Is it actually? You're making that up?
No, I think it's 192 because I checked on my podcast who we upload the podcast. What do you call it? Your podcast host, and apparently we've uploaded 191 times. So I'm saying that this is 192. Must be.
Okay. You need to get back to work, mate, if you've got time to start doing things like that.
Good evening to you all in the comments section. Hope you're all good. Hope you're all fine. Hope you're all keeping well and you've had a good weekend. And that piss poor result at the weekend hasn't spoiled it too much. Tonight, lads, if you're watching this on catch up or you're watching it live, you can hit the like button for me. I'm going to try and get 500 likes on this video. Every single like helps us along the way. In getting up those rankings on the old YouTube. So if you could like it before you start listening, or like it before we start, I'd really, really appreciate it. Judges, how are you?
I've been better. I have been better.
Yeah.
Late night last night getting home. Do you know what? I weren't going to the game yesterday. I was meant to be playing football, and it got called off because of the rain. So Tony said to me, "Oh, I've got, want to come out, I've got a spare ticket and all that." So I decided to go. So last time I listened to him.
What do you mean it got called off because of the rain? Don't vets play in the rain then? Or
Well, we play on the actual first team pitch, stadium and all that, like, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of rain when there Saturday, and they don't like, it's a bowling.
They're wrinkly enough, Craig, and they don't need to be getting extra wrinkles from the rain, do they?
There's no need for that, was there? No need for that at all, was there? Yeah. Put it down in the background, otherwise I shall reveal some of your secrets you've just told.
ends up with a head like a ball bag.
which brings me on nicely. Mark, how are you?
Yeah, well, I'm good now. I've had a little quip at Judges. That's what it's all about. I might as well go now. My work here is done.
Yeah, your work here is done. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've got a lot to eat, to be fair, so I'll hang around.
All right, no problem. And of course, the man who needs no introduction, joining us as our super sub, as always, Mr. Albert. How are you?
It's Craig. Thanks for the invite. It's good to be back. It's been a long, long time, but it's like putting on some good old slippers, mate. It's good to be back, mate.
That's the sort of thing Mark will wear slippers. I'm disappointed about you, Albert, that you wear slippers, like, you know what I mean?
Nothing wrong with slippers, Albert. Nothing wrong with slippers.
Nice modern ones, Gaffer. Nice modern ones.
Well, all right, okay, like, you know what I mean? They do Louis Vuitton slippers. I wonder if they have a look like.
Maybe not that range, mate. But yeah.
White Nike ones. You'll take white Nike ones.
Send a pair to Lee, Albert. He'll put them on his Twitter. You'll get a free pair.
Or a hat if you want a new hat.
Yes.
Or a hat, yeah.
Check out the link in Lee's description, mate.
That's nice. To be fair, it's very nice hat.
Is the business. They do a good act. Look, this is.
Oh, here he goes again.
Yeah.
This is my favourite Frederick and Cameron one. Look at that. That is quality.
That is a quality act.
That is a quality act like that. You know what I mean?
If anyone wants to get a silly hat like Lee, go into
no.
And
check out my boots. Check out my boots.
How have you bought a new pair of boots already? Michelle only brought you a new pair last
nothing,
year.
Craig, does he? Don't buy anything.
And you had a new pair last year with Judges written on the side of them. What's all that about?
I've got a blue pair now, a couple of white pairs, you know what I mean? So
Jesus, Mark, not like when we were kids, mate. We bought them 2 sizes too big and they lasted us 5 years.
I used to deliberately target people who wore white boots. You know that, Craig.
Do you know what? You're right. But no one will, in my day, no one. That's why I like all the different colours now, you know what I mean? Because
never had them in your day, did I?
Never had them.
Patrick or what was it? Patrick.
I did have a pair of Patricks when I was in.
They were the best, mate.
In the school days. Keegan wore them, didn't he?
They were revolutionary because the studs and all the other boots used to screw straight into the bottom of the sole, you see, so you could feel the screws in the bottom of your feet. But Patrick were the first boots to have a an actual lowered moulding, so the screw went into the
mould.
There you go now.
Bit of a useful.
Yeah, that was a good boot. They were all black and white boots, weren't they? That was all it was. It was just black and white boots. There was no other different colours.
I was a Puma King man. I was a Puma King man.
Puma Kings, yeah.
Adidas done a I don't know if you remember, like a bit like the World Cups, but it was a like blue, very dark blue and white. I never would like them because I thought it was Chelsea Spurs, so I never actually got myself a pair of them. But then Nike Tempo come in about 83, 84, and that was my boot all the way through. Like, you know, I loved them. Like, and nowadays, you know, that's why I like all these different colours now, because, you know, one, I like the rainbow, but two, you know what I mean, like, it's a chance to wear it all. You know, and like as you say, if someone wore white boots, you know what I mean, they were going to get a good, you know, they're going to get a good kick in, like that. I mean, so
you wear white boots, you got to be able to play, haven't you?
Yeah,
you had to be able to play, but and also take a kick in, because like, red rags were bought with it, like, you know what I mean? So,
literally.
I think I must have been one of the first goalkeepers to ever wear white Adidas Predators. Why I needed Adidas Predators to be in goal, I don't know, but there you go. Anyway, I liked them. They were on sale.
Do you remember that April Fool's joke with Adidas Predators? To combat Adidas Predators, David Seaman wore them giant goalkeeper gloves on April Fool's to make it fair against.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I do.
Christ, man, that must have been about 90 or something. Anyway,
right.
showing me age. Talking of showing me age, can I just say quickly before we're sorry? Just talking of showing your age, did anybody else notice or hear that up front for Stoke yesterday at one point they had Kevin Campbell's son Tyrese? They had who was the other fella?
Ian Wright's son.
Paul Ince's son. Ian Wright's grandson.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, wasn't it?
How old are we feeling now?
I know.
Good luck to him.
Right, let's get into it. Judges, yesterday, absolute shambles. You were there. Must have been awful to be there, because you know,
awful.
One of those games I couldn't keep my eyes on it, because I knew what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen straight away. We turned up to Nottingham Forest, and people have had a go at me and saying, "Oh, you're wrong." But I think we turned up at Nottingham Forest in a swanky kit, and turned up a bit arrogantly, to be honest. With you, thought we were gonna win the game. How we've gone from playing so well 2 weeks ago to this, you know, in less than 2 weeks, is. See, the thing about it is, Lee, everyone's having a go at the manager, right? Which I could probably understand. But the point is, Lee, that was the strongest team he could have picked yesterday.
No, it wasn't the strongest team he could pick, but near as damn it, like, you know what I mean? Like, just before I say anything, look, Nigel's just confessed that he wears slippers. I'll say no more. Right? I will say
nothing wrong with wearing slippers.
I will say no more. Nigel Plum wears slippers. End of conversation, like, you know. Anyway, yes, he could have gone a little bit stronger. Could have played Lacazette. Could have played Tierney. Could have played Ramsdale. And I'm pretty sure deep down we all know that Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe are probably being got nursing little knocks, but could have. I'd imagine if that was Spurs yesterday, they would have played. But in saying that, we were hit with a little bit of COVID, and I got no problem with him rotating it a little bit, like, you know what I mean. The problem is, and when I looked at the team, I don't know how you guys felt and people in the chat now. When I see it, I thought, oh my God, we could be in trouble here if things don't go our way. If we don't get a goal. I didn't see anything coming off the bench. Only Lacazette. I looked at the bench; it was very, very weak. The midfield too. I'm sorry, Coutinho and Lokonga, they're all right alongside an experienced player, but you can't have two inexperienced players like that playing against a midfield of championship players. You know, championship players, by the way, are still bloody decent and shouldn't be taken for disrespect. And I say this, and I was saying this going up there, funny enough, when we was listening to it on the radio, like the scores coming through. Liverpool struggled a little bit against Shrewsbury. Spurs struggled against Morecambe, but ultimately they were at home. it is 10 times more tougher away from home. I don't care what anybody says. And it was, a difficult game yesterday. And realistically, we didn't have Lacazette in there that was that's the one who's been the glue that's kept our younger players playing. Odegaard thought he was playing for Real Madrid because of that kit and turned up playing like he was playing for Real Madrid. Shocking, performance. Saka wasn't at the races, if I'll be honest, but they didn't have that connection in the front and they didn't have that connection behind it as well, the two midfield players, And unfortunately, we should have scored. We should have, if Eddie does his job properly, which is what he's supposed to do, we would have beaten Everton and we'd have beaten them yesterday with an open goal, an absolute wonder ball by Saka. You just got to put it on target. We're 1-0 up. Get the hell out of there, you know what I mean? And you turn around and go, don't matter how he done it, we got the result. But ultimately, we didn't score that goal. As soon as they scored, you might as well, that was it.
Yeah.
We never like scoring. And, I'm not putting it on Arteta. I don't think we should lose our stuff about it at this moment in time because obviously I think that there's bigger fish to fry, like i.e. trying to get into the top four. That's what I think that they're going for. This will help us. There's no excuses no more. No Europe, no FA Cup now. They've got a nice little run. In February, I think like we can all go on holiday for a couple of weeks because there's no games. And at the end of January, there's no go. So there's no resting no more. All these players, I'm not having it no more. And I don't like the way. I don't know. We can talk about it later on. I don't like the way Tavares was treated yesterday. I don't like that. I thought that was wrong.
Okay, well, I agree with you. I do agree with you. I thought he was treated poorly, but as a football manager, Mikel Arteta could obviously see a problem down that left side. He did have a shocker. He was shocking. Couldn't control the ball. Couldn't find the pass. Looked a bit out of his depth, Lee, if I'm going to be honest. And surely,
you can say about 4 players, Craig.
Should he have waited till half time, Mark? To pull off Tavares.
I'm not adverse to managers making first half substitutions, especially when somebody is clearly having a shocker. And wasn't you was right to touch on the controlling the ball and sort of but he looked a little out of sorts, and he was getting a few knocks. He had a couple of fouls against him, and he didn't get the rub of the green. And one of them hit him in the face. He went down. I think he was just all wrong. He looked a bit uppity, and of course, the manager's not happy with what he's seeing right across the pitch. But it's no coincidence that Tavares was right in front of him, and he may be guilty of being the closest one to him, but he had to do something. And looking at the bench, apart from Lacazette, I don't really know what he could have done because he took such a week's. It's so depleted, the squad. Why he let Maitland-Niles go that day and not ask him to stay until Monday morning to get the first flight to Rome on Monday morning and play one last game, I don't really know, because that wouldn't have affected Roma because he's not going to get cup tied for them. So I don't know why he didn't just turn around and say, look, we'll have him 24 hours, and that would have made a huge difference. But look, you can't blame the manager. He's made a decision. It's a big, bold decision, and I back him on that. And by the way, Tierney come on and we looked a lot better. The game itself, if stats mean anything to you, and the only stat that matters is that they scored and we didn't. But that in itself is not a shock to me. We had the vast majority of the ball, 69, 70%, something like that. We had more shots than them, more corners than them. We had more opportunities. And it comes back to the fundamental issue with our team. Away from home this season, a striker, if you want to call it a striker, Balogun, Eddie, Lacazette and Aubameyang, not one of them has scored from open play away from home in the Premier League this season. Lac has scored from the penalty spot in a 5-0 drumming of a team bottom of the league, near enough. That's it. That's the only goal that those four have mustered away from home against good quality opposition. And Nottingham Forest are good quality opposition. The lad managing them's won the World Club Cup the World Youth Cup, with the under-17s, managing Fodens and all that, the commentators were reeling off the list of players that he's used to working with or has worked with, has progressed. He's no mug. And as you quite rightly said, no team in the Championship. But this is the beauty of the FA Cup. It's what we love. So we shouldn't get too, and this is the thing with Arsenal. It's very reactionary, aren't we, Arsenal? Some Arsenal fans that, Christ, we've got to shoot the manager. We've lost an FA Cup title to Nottingham Forest. Spurs were 1-0 down to Morecambe until the 80th minute or whatever it was. It happens. That's why we love the cup. Our cup, by the way, 21 finals, 14 victories. No team has been more successful in this cup. And by the way, the other interesting stat for the other day was that last time we lost in the third round, it was away to Nottingham Forest. So maybe they're a little bit of a bogey team for us. But listen, losing a game, especially a cup game, when you've only really got 2 opportunities to win something in a season, is heartbreaking. But all of our eggs are firmly in a basket now, aren't they? Or the League Cup, big ask, get past Liverpool, and then one of them 2 waiting in the final. But it can be done because we can win cup competitions. We've proven that under Mikel Arteta. So, as Lee quite rightly says, and I'm with him, we've got to be playing our best 11 now. And I don't think he could have done much more really with that team he picked, given what he had available. So, yeah, I back him taking off Tavares, and I back him with a team that he picked. And on another day, the lads might have won that 2 or 3-1, but that is the FA Cup.
Absolutely. Albert, come to you next, mate. I thought the only player that kind of walks off the pitch with his head held high, I might surprise a few people, in my opinion, was the goalkeeper, Leno. I thought he was the only player who looked like he wanted to do so. I thought he played quite well. But talk to me, Albert, about the team in general yesterday, the performance. I called it a very arrogant performance, trying to, go up there and it looked like to me, like I said at the start, going up there in a swanky kit, look at us, we're the Arsenal. All we've got to do is turn up here and win. Do you think there was a bit of that in there, Albert, or should I be giving more credit to Nottingham Forest?
You could say a mixture of both, but Forest were, I have to give credit to Forest, they were very good. I think the thing that I couldn't really understand is, and I said it, is Craig, the warning signs, if you look at some of the cup results on the Saturday, some of the non-league teams, some of the lower league teams, they turned up. They put one over, teams that are well above them in sort of league position. That should have been already in the Arsenal players' mind. You know what? We don't want to be part of that. Yeah, Forest are a good side and we're going away to the City Ground, but the warning signs are already there. Go and turn up and do what you need to do to get the win. I'm not saying it would have been a walkover, but the warning signs were there. And when you see the performance that you saw yesterday, it was appalling. I mean, I'm not saying, listen, you watch football and I'm looking at like just the basics, Craig and the boys, in terms of passing from A to B. It got even worse in the second half. They was all doing it. Holding, Saka, Erdegaard. You can't play 5-10 yard passes to each man. It's shocking. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Craig, this might sound a bit strange, and I'm not advocating obviously such an awful performance, but I almost kind of touched on it sort of the start of the season that there's going to be performances where we're going to put in some horror shows. And unfortunately, on top of having some very good performances this season, notably recently against Manchester City, this team is capable of that. Yes, you can look at Arteta and people made their mind up about Arteta in the last 12 months. They want it, regardless of whatever our results do, they want him out. But it's not acceptable to put in that type of performance. That's no disrespect to Nottingham Forest. No shots on target. How are you supposed to win football matches? I mean, and that's
you can't, Albert. You can't if you don't shoot.
It's not. It was appalling. Even the half chances we had. I mean, in Ketahedi, I don't know what he was doing, to be honest with you. There was no cohesion. We weren't confident on the ball. And to be honest with you, and I don't apologize for saying it, we got bullied. And in the second half, you could see particularly, people will say the warning signs were there sort of during the duration of the match, but in that first 15 minutes of the second half, I said, you know what? If this continues, Arsenal will lose. They will lose. The warning signs were there. I don't know what was said at halftime because it didn't work. Like the guys mentioned, in terms of what to come off the bench, obviously Lacazette was there, but even when he came on, to be honest with you, I don't think it even got any better. As for the Tavares thing, I think, you know what it was? I think it was obviously shocking, and the back pass to Leno, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I think it's probably a culmination of he's had a few games like that, Craig, in an Arsenal shirt. Notably the game at Liverpool where he literally got from the pass, he conceded the goal and he got worse and he got worse. So it's not the first game. So maybe Arteta looked at it and thought, you know what? I can't have that in the first 35 minutes. I've got to take it. I've got to make the change, because if he keeps him on, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, and he makes a mistake to lead to a goal, it's going to get pelters either way. So, but no, listen, I love the FA Cup, and you know, like Mark mentioned, we've won it the most times. We've been in so many finals, but to see that performance, I felt for the away fans like Gaffer and other guys that went up there to watch that crap. I don't get it. Like, you play a performance like that against Man City. People might say you're playing City, so you've got to be up for it. You're at home. Gaffer makes a good point. Obviously, being away from home is a bit more tougher. But like I said, Craig, mate, at the beginning, the warning signs were there with the Saturday before with some of the results that were there. Arsenal should have been ready and they weren't. And that's why they lost.
That's. I mean, I watched the Newcastle-Cambridge game. What a game. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. They got Newcastle goalkeeper. The Cambridge United goalkeeper. Well, talk about turn up. He had an absolutely fantastic game. And you're right, mate. Yeah, I mean, we've all grown up with the FA Cup. You know, we've all seen the giant killings. We've all been through giant killings. You know, I can remember when we lost to Wrexham. I can remember, you know, and when I think, was it the League Cup or the FA Cup? We lost to Millwall at Highbury. Was that in the League Cup or was
FA
that
Cup?
That was the FA Cup.
95, yeah.
You know, so I mean, we've seen all these giant killings. You know, it's happened to us. We've seen it happen. I'm with Mark. I don't think we should be reacting too busily about this, to be honest. Of course, I want to be in the FA Cup. Of course, I want to win the FA Cup. But while I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about what we're talking about, I think we're being a little bit disrespectful to Nottingham Forest, to be honest with you.
They were good. They were good.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah. That lad on the right wing. I don't.
Spence, the wing back. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Deary me. Fantastic player. And I'm sure after that performance, there's going to be a few Premier League clubs looking at him. Fantastic. He absolutely bullied everyone who had the ball. When he had the ball, we couldn't get it off him. When we had the ball, he always got it back. So, yeah, I think we're being a little bit disrespectful to Nottingham Forest in trying to make it out that we were bad and this, that, and the other. We were, but you know, I think you know what I'm trying to say, Lee. Eddie Nketiah. For me, it's goodbye, mate. This month.
Well, I don't want to see him in an Arsenal shirt again, like, you know what I mean? And I don't mean that horribly. Like, if he doesn't want to sign the contract, that's fine. I get that. So why the hell is Mikel giving him minutes and all? This is what worries me about Mikel. Like, you know what I mean? How many more minutes is he going to give him before he realises that he's not what we need and he's not going to be playing, like, you know? And listen, I'm going to say this now. I don't care, you know, watching the game yesterday. And you know, you can say good luck to Nottingham Forest and whatever. They weren't much better than us, neither. They weren't that great yesterday. It was going to be really honest. It was a poor game of football. They never looked like scoring, and nor did we. You know, and at the end of it, you know, it was a mistake by Lokonga, handball by their player, great cross and a great finish, and you have to say to them, you know, they deserved it. But if you take these teams lightly, you get what you deserve, and that's what happened. I don't see how Mikel can look at a game like Nottingham Forest, who are doing well in the Championship and the Championship side, and expect to win and dominate a game of midfield with them two kids in midfield. I think it's disrespectful. I really do. Like, you know, now people will turn around and say that's all he's got in there. That's probably what he did. You know what I mean? Like Smith Rowe, I think Odegaard could have gone in there. But that's whose fault is that, by the way, that we're Granit Xhaka away from those two in midfield? If Granit Xhaka goes training on, comes back from Cardiff, slips on the pavement going to the ground, you know, and discolates his bumhole, right, and is out for the game against Spurs, we are then down to them too. That's poor managing from whoever it is to allow that to happen. You know, and people saying, "Oh, we get someone in, we get someone else." Like, you know, I'm not into that. Like, you know, Arsenal Football Club should have players, you know, a better, what's a more experienced level than the kid. You know, listen, Patino, I don't. Listen, they're all raving about him and everything like that, and he's a good player and everything. But ultimately, has that done him any favours playing in that game yesterday? Has it done him any favours whatsoever? I don't think so. You know, he got dragged off after 70 minutes or 65 minutes.
Yeah,
I just don't think it was fair on him. Like, you know what I mean? I really don't. And I think that, you know.
Well, to be fair to the manager, who else did he have? You know, I mean,
well, that's not.
Was there?
Yeah, I get that, and I get that. You know what I mean? Like, so if Xhaka was fit, we've all criticised Xhaka all the time. You know what I mean?
How we missed him yesterday? How we missed him?
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But ultimately, listen, I would have sympathy for the players, for the manager, if we're into the season. And Partey and El Neni played on last weekend against Man City and got injured. I'd have sympathy for that. But these two have been out. They know that these two were not going to be about since August.
yeah.
Whenever the tournament was going to come, like, you know what I mean? They knew this was going to happen. They knew that we was going into a big month of football. We could be in the semi-finals of the League Cup by then. We should be in the semi-finals because we've got no Europe. We've got big, like, when you look at the fixtures, who have we got in there? Do you know what? I could go along with it if it was Burnley and Norwich that we had in this January window. But there's a team in there in next weekend. It says Tottenham Hotspur. And you as a management team are prepared to go one injury away to them two kids playing at Tottenham. Yeah. I think it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I think it's a disgrace, and that's my beef with that performance and everything about yesterday. Like, you know, and I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the FA Cup. You know what I mean? Like, this job's, by the way, has kept him in a job, winning the FA Cup. Yeah. Kept him in a job. It's kept a lot of fans' faith in him. Like, you know what I mean? He's dissed it twice now. Last season against Southampton and this one. And I don't know why he did it at Southampton last year after going fairly strong against Newcastle, but that's another story. On this one here, I've you know, it hurt me last night coming home. Look, we've gone out of the FA Cup. And people are just saying, oh, that don't matter. It's the FA Cup. Top four's more important. Well, if that's the case, why are all those fans going up there yesterday? Like, what is it, just for a jolly up then? Because it ain't for me. And, like, you know, I was like hurting. I remember when Arsenal lost to York City, last minute penalty. You know, Wrexham. We've had it before. Don't get me wrong. We've had it before, and it's not a nice pill to swallow. You know, I don't think you can. You know, like, we've had worse defeats in the FA Cup, by the way, than Nottingham Forest. It's not that much of a disgrace, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But ultimately, you know, I go into football today and all the Spurs fans are there, you know what I mean, laughing. We've got to endure all of that. But it's all right, someone said to me, that's all right. Top four's more important. I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? Like, winning games of football breeds confidence and it goes out. All of a sudden, we're in a great run of form and now we've lost 2 games. Yeah. Momentum's gone again.
Yeah.
You know, and if we was to lose to Liverpool and we was to lose to Spurs, where's that going to, you know, people are going to be right at the pump with Mikel again. And do you know what? It's a circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a roundabout, you know what I mean? Like, all the Mikel Arteta haters will be on the thing and all that, like, you know. And rightly so, and you can't argue it. And then we get another couple of wins, and they all go quiet again. And then it's just it's getting on my nerves. You know, the FA Cup is, by the way, we're only in 3 competitions this season. Well, 2 really, because we're never in for the league. So we're in for 2 competitions, and we've thrown one away, guys. Thrown one away, you know, and realistically, everybody turns around and says to it, it's all right. It's the FA Cup. Well, no, it's not all right. It's a trophy you can win. Yeah. And I'll tell you this now, we slag off Spurs and take the mickey out of them because they don't win trophies. And we brush them aside like we're trophy winners, like serial trophy winners. We're not.
Good point,
Mark.
Good point.
Lee says there about the midfield. Now, I got quite a bit of hate actually on Twitter earlier on for me making
sound like you.
Yeah, me making.
Who have you upset now?
Oh, lots of people. Now, there's a boy training with us at the moment that I'd rather see in the middle of the midfield than Charlie Patino or Lokonga, and that's Jack Wilshere. I would rather see him in there than them 2. Right. Am I mad for thinking that? Am I? People are saying I'm mad. I'm this. I'm that. We only want elite players and this, that, and the other. Surely Jack Wilshere has got to be. No disrespect to Charlie Patino. But surely Jack Wilshere, if you can get him on a pay-as-you-play deal, surely he's the better option.
Well, I sit firmly with wood planks in my bum cheeks on this matter because my heart reminisces and believes that he is still 22 years old.
I get it, yeah.
But we have got potentially the new Jack Wilshere, and if he doesn't get opportunities and experience and game time of playing in real life competitions against real life men, if he doesn't get bullied out of games and dragged off after 70 minutes and learn his trade, I'm not sure that Patino will become the man that we hope him to be. So if signing Jack Wilshere and being in for Aaron Ramsey to come back on loan, if Juve pay half his wages and we take him, and there's lots of players like that. As long as it doesn't stifle the development of Odegaard, Smith Rowe, because he is very, very similar to them, Jack Wilshere. I don't believe that Jack Wilshere is what we need. And purely say that because he would be in direct competition with Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, etc. We don't need that. We need someone better than Xhaka. We need someone who's going to put pressure on Xhaka and Partey. And Sammy is sort of doing that. He's sort of learning his craft. I don't think he can sit in there with with the young lad, like he did the other day. Sambi needs an experienced head alongside him because he's still young. Yeah. He's still learning the culture, the game, the speed. Let's have it right. Am I right in saying that was Sambi's first FA Cup tie?
Yeah.
Well, he's had a bit of a wake up, hasn't he, about the best knockout competition in the world, because he's just been bullied out of a game he couldn't get to grips with. But I mean, we put all this negativity on them, don't we, and say that they've been bullied out of games and all the rest of it. We did have 70% of possession, so we did have the ball for vast majorities of the game. So did they really get outplayed, our midfield? I don't know, but I'm with you on that. Our midfield needs strengthening, and I go back to Maitland-Niles. I cannot believe he's been allowed to leave, and someone said he just wanted out ASAP. I don't believe he would have done that. He's an Arsenal boy, come through the academy. If Mikel had said to him, "You can go on Monday, and I want you to sit in there with Sambi on Sunday away to Forest and do this job for us," he would have done it. Of course, he'd done it. He played right back for a year. He didn't want to play there. He did it. He would have done it. So I cannot believe that the board have allowed us to get to this threadbare without a contingency plan. And now all eyes are once again on the Cronkies for me, because although they backed the manager in January, You know, he's got to do it. They've got to do it again. And this is the thing with football. You know, we are £300 million behind Man City. And every window that goes by, we become another £100 million behind them because that's what they're spending. So you can't just say, oh, we've spent £150 million. That'll do us for 2 years. No. You've got to do that every other window. You know, we've got to do some sensible business in this window. Yeah, we have. We've got to bring some players in. But yeah, Jack Wilshere, it's a romantic story, isn't it? But sadly, I don't think it ends the same way as Henry against Leeds United in the third round of the Cup. Sadly,
but he comes on at the weekend and scores a winner. Oh. Did you see that? Just talking to Jack Wilshere, did you just see that little advert he done for Betfred or whatever? And Paddy Power, yeah, it was
Paddy
very
Power. He said at the end of it, "I'm available, just not Tottenham."
Just not Tottenham. Albert, Mark leads me into the next question nicely. The transfer market. I see a report on Twitter today that the Cronkies are going to back Arteta in this window. And have told him that he can have who he wants. I don't believe it. Never believed it. Never believed a word they've said. I'm not going to start doing it now. But by God, Mark is right. We need to buy some players this transfer window. I know we linked to this lad from Fiorentina. I don't like what I'm seeing there. Why is it taking so long? Every time I see it, it's about, his agents are trying to get him a better deal, or he doesn't want to come and play for Arsenal. Well, if that's the case, move on. See you later. Thanks very much. We'll move on to someone else. To guarantee us top four, Albert, if there's such a thing, what's he got to do now before this window ends?
The first thing is, I kind of mentioned this quite a few times this season already, is that if Arsenal are going to get top four, we have to sort out the striker situation. Otherwise, we won't get it because you don't score enough goals. And that's a huge problem. As for the sort of January transfer window itself, what concerns me is notoriously the January transfer window is a difficult transfer window anyway. That's the first thing. Secondly, notoriously, we've never really been good at it. And we buy poorly. But this time now, as Mark's mentioned, the Cronkies have backed the manager. But Craig, my issue is that with transfers, you don't always get your targets, whatever Arsenal's targets are. My concern would be, what is Arsenal's contingency if they don't get their number one targets for this January transfer window? And that's the bigger issue, because we've heard about the links with Gigi Wijnaldum, obviously Vlahovic. We've heard about the Juventus guy, the midfield player, quite versatile, Artemelo. I'm not someone. Yes, there's certain players I would like to join Arsenal, whether that's during the January transfer window or a normal summer transfer window. But I just think as long as we bring in players that are going to improve the squad, that's the most important thing. And it's going to give the team a bit of a lift. And it's going to give the supporters a bit of a lift. But that depends who they get. So if they're going to break the bank to get Vlahovic, and I'll be honest, Craig, I've not seen too much of him. My years of watching Italian football, my years of watching Italian football are not what they used to be. But from what I hear, what he would give us, definitely what I do know, is he would give us a physical presence. And we've not had that at Arsenal for a very, very long time. And we need that up front. In terms of the midfield, I think the midfield area, though, for me, someone has to come in. They've got to bring someone in the central midfield areas. I don't want to hear about any more discussions about missing Xhaka and Thomas Partey's the next Vieira. These guys need some help. Arsenal, one thing they haven't been good at for a number of years is doing their due diligence. We're going to see that. I don't believe a word of what I hear until I see it. So we're still quite early in January. Like I said, you get a striker in, you get a midfield player in, top four's on.
Lee, this one comes in from Ghana Gona. Thank you very much, mate, for your constant support. Always here every week, like 99.9% of you. Thank you very much for this, mate. Lee says he doesn't think that the striker's the priority right now. He thinks we need a midfielder, but a proper midfielder.
Well, it is a priority because you've let whatever reason Aubameyang's not about. So you've got Aubameyang not there. You've got Eddie that's going to be leaving. Balogun's going on loan. So you can go and get a couple of midfielders, and then we're short up front. We've only got Lacazette. We've got to get someone. The thing is with the Vlahovic thing is what's happening there is he's got 18 months of his contract. It's got to be done. We can get him, and we can get him now. You know what I mean? It's going to cost us a little bit more, but I'd rather pay over listen, Arsenal paid over the odds for Aaron Ramsdale and Ben White. Let's get that straight. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if they can pay over the odds for them two, they can pay over the odds for a striker without no problems whatsoever. And they will do if that's what it takes. And I think that they will do. We need a striker. He fits the bill that we need. I actually watched him today. He didn't do nothing today. They got stuffed and he didn't do nothing. I had a little watch of him. He didn't do nothing, but that ain't his fault. You know what I mean? He had Torreira trying to feed him, no, nothing against him, but it just wasn't. He was day to day. But ultimately, we need someone up there. And I'll tell you what we're going to do as well. If he does sign him, he's 21 years of age. He ain't going to come in and be straight in at the races. It's going to take him a little bit of time. This is why it's important now. We get him now. So for next year, he's primed and ready. You know what I mean? Let's get that right. So Lacazette is still an important player for us this season. And do you know what? If I can convince Lacazette to sign a year's contract, I would, because he still needs someone. When you look at it, Odegaard 22, Martinelli 20, Vlahovic if he comes 21, Saka 20. They need a bit of experience around them as well, Yeah. So I think it is a priority that we get a striker, but it's also a priority we get a midfield player as well. And we've got to upgrade on what we've got. Now, Partey has played one fantastic game against Man City. Before that, he wasn't great. So, and Xhaka is Xhaka. You know what I mean? So those two, if we're going to go and push for top four and beyond, they need to be pushed and improved. We need another player, proper player in there. Now, I'm Jack Wilshere can go on about that. People are turning their nose up to Aaron Ramsey, turning their nose up. At this moment in time, those two players would be as better than what we've got in there because they've got a bit of experience. Bruno Guimaraes is the real deal, definitely. You know what I mean? That is the player. Look, we're being linked with him as well, you know what I mean? If we was to get him,
that'd be a summer one, wouldn't it?
It will probably be a summer one. So you may have to, go, say to them, we'll buy you now and loan you back there and we'll go and get somebody else. But we're going to have to get in a midfield player, whether it's on loan to the end of the season or not. If that's Aaron Ramsey and then we bring up that Bruno Guimaraes the next season, then fine. But we've got to be able to do something, you know what I mean? And we've got to do it quickly, you know what I mean? And again, people say about Ramsey, you can talk about Jack Wilshere. I don't think that long term it's a great bet and everything like that. But short term, for a month or so, why not? And I don't see the problem with it,
There's a player here that I've always liked, and Lee Farrell has put him in the chat box there now. And there's a player there now I think we could go and get who would...
Too similar to Xhaka.
Not better than Granit Xhaka.
No, I think it's very similar. I think maybe, arguments. I don't think... We need someone that's going to get around the pitch quick and get the ball, a little bit more energy than Neves. I think Shaq, if you're buying Neves, you might as well keep Shaq, you're spending 30 million and you've got a Xhaka replacement. We want to upgrade on these players. That's my opinion.
Sailed, isn't it? That boat sailed, I think.
What about Bissouma then? I mean, Bissouma's still at Brighton.
Love him.
But he's in the African nations at the moment. We need someone now.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, African nations is up before January, isn't it?
Well,
somebody
like that as well. You know what I mean? It would be a good.
Put it this way, I think we're all being very heads in the sky if we think someone's coming in before the Spurs game.
Yeah. It ain't happening.
No.
Mark, anyone in the Premier League? I mean, look, we're always looking out for players from different countries coming in. Should we have learnt our lesson? a little bit by bringing in players from outside divisions?
Well, the problem is that, we would like, a driving sort of force. Someone like John McGinn would be good, or Basuma at Brighton. These things are invariably all down to timing. Brighton have categorically come out and said that none of their players are leaving in January. Fair enough. That's their prerogative. Basuma's got 18 months left to run. So if Brighton are going to cash in, it's going to be this summer. So if that lad's going to move, it's going to be this summer, unless Brighton decide that losing him is too much and that the club would lose their status if they cashed in. What are they going to get for a lad with 12 months left on his contract? 40, 50 million maximum, probably not even 50, probably 40 million. And if they go down, they'll lose twice that. So it's a real difficult thing now to prize assets. You look at Aston Villa, they're outmanoeuvring us. Well, someone could argue they're spending more cash and have done in the last 2 or 3, 4 windows, if you can buy them, since they've sort of come up and started splashing the cash. Are we going to be able to get John McGinn to come away from them? Probably not. They'll probably just up his wages and he'll say thank you very much and stay where he is. So we are the Arsenal. We do have a pool. That's fair enough. But, someone like Donny van der Beek at Man United. Now, if we could get the Donny van der Beek who was playing for Ajax, fantastic. But are Man United going to sell him to us for £20 million when he could turn out to be the best thing since sliced bread, which they obviously have done their research and think he could well be. Otherwise, they would never have paid £45 million for him or whatever. So it's very, very hard to manoeuvre against the Premier League clubs now because they're all minted. You talk about Leicester. Most of the Premier League clubs now are owned by billionaires. You're not talking. Yes, you've got one billionaire who's worth more than another, but they're still not skin. You're still not. Do you know what I mean? If I've got £2,000 and a fella down the road's got 3, he might be able to buy my BMW off me if he tempts me with a few £100. But if you've got 100, 200, 300, £400 million in the bank, it don't matter if you've got 300 or 300 million. You're still rich beyond your wildest dreams. So they've all got dreams of winning this league, like Leicester did, like the fairy tales. So it's very, very hard to manoeuvre against Premier League clubs, and that's why you outsource. That's why you've got your academies, and that's why you've got your scouting network. So I'd be putting my finger out to them. We hired a German scout not so long ago, last summer or something like that. What trees is he pulling up? Nothing yet. So I'd be looking around. Edu, fair enough. Edu's coming. He's negotiated a few deals, but he's only brought Martinelli with him. He's been there for a year. So, he needs to start stepping up. I know with big links with Daniello from Flamengo, is it, or Florenese, or so, from Brazil, is a real talent. But again, it's timing because that club are in the World Club Cup competition in February. So our window is shut, and they think they've got a serious chance of winning that, as most South American teams do, and invariably they do well in it. So it's a big competition to them, the World Club Cup. So they're not going to let him go, even though we probably could negotiate a fee for that lad of around £40-45 million, which is the bracket we're in. So I don't think we're going to do anything permanent unless this lad from Fiorentina we can negotiate. I'm baffled with Maitland-Niles going out. I am baffled. Something must be coming the other way.
Yeah, it's got to be.
The timing's insane. Yeah.
But what? I don't know. But as Stu MC in the comments had me cracking up a minute ago, he said that Garner got played off the park and stuffed last night or whenever it was, and he'll be back before the postcards. So Party's only going to be gone for about another 6 days, and he'll be harsh but fair. So that's the reality, guys. The reality is, yes, they won't be back for Spurs. But and this is the sad thing, is that I think we've got Liverpool, Spurs, Liverpool. Lee mentioned we could get played off the park and beaten in all 3 of those. We could. It's football. That's where we're at. But after that, we could go on and unbeat. We could go on a run to the end of April when we play Man United without winning everything. So it's exactly what Lee says. We could be in this turmoil situation where Arteta's looking over his shoulder in a week's time when we've lost these 3 games. If we lose these 3 games, God hope we don't. But then he could go on a 10-game unbeaten run to the end of April. It's a mad situation. But yeah, I don't know. Premier League buying off a Premier League side in January, the players you're going to get are probably not the players you want.
Absolutely. This one comes in from Kangaroo Jack. Thank you very much for your kind donation, mate. He says, forget about the top 4. I want to be challenging for the league. I'm sick to death of losing games against pub teams. Luckily, I was 10 beers deep yesterday because as far as I'm concerned, that was shocking. Well, to be honest with you, mate, I was actually 5 or 6 pints of Guinness in as well by the time the full time.
And he's right. You know, the long-term thing is to go to challenge for the title. And you're not going to challenge for the title with Xhaka in the midfield. And that's nothing against Xhaka. You've got to improve it. We've got to improve that front line as well. That you know, we need to spend, you know, excess of another 100 million, as Mark said. You know what I mean? Like on those 2 players in January, and then in the summer, go again. You know what I mean? Improve the right back situation. Improve, like, you know, I think the central defence is going to be sorted with Saliba coming in because let's face it, like, you know, I've seen enough from Rob Holding to know he's not quite outstanding.
Yeah,
you know
he was poor at the weekend, very poor.
Yeah.
Very,
So if you've got Saliba, Ben White, and Gabriel, that's a solid 3. They've got someone else as well along the way. That will be sufficient. But the midfield, maybe another wide player. You know what I mean? I can't see Pepe being here for another summer in the summer transfer window, so we may look to do that, and just needs a little bit of freshening up, like, you know. So, but ultimately, money's got to be spent, and listen, you've got Newcastle going to be coming on to if they survive. They're going to be like in a couple of years' time. So, you know, we've got to make sure that we do our stuff now, and make sure that we you know, we've got an opportunity to cement top 4 this season. You know, next season there could be Newcastle, there could be other teams, and we could be well out of it again. Like, you know what I mean? We've got the opportunity now, and this is where I'm with Mark on this. It's not Mikel now. It's over to the Cronkies now. Are you gonna, you know, let's be excited? You said, yeah, there's some exciting stuff going to happen at Arsenal. Well, this is when you need to show it. When you need to show it now. When we need it.
Yeah, sorry, Craig. Just coming. Sorry. I think that's the concern. Like Gaffer's touched on it. I know we look at the Man Cities, the Chelseas, and Liverpools, but for a few seasons now, it's the clubs behind us, mate. We could easily get overtaken and bypassed in the next 2 or 3 years. It's been happening, and it could get worse if Arsenal don't sort it out ASAP, and that starts in January and in the summer and in the following season. The work's got to be done, or continue to be done. We've got rid of a lot of players in 18 months, a hell of a lot, but still some of them still need to go. But we need to man,
that's what I was just about to say. Yeah. There's definitely more that need to go. I mean, and after yesterday's performance, you know, you could name a few from yesterday's performance: Cedric, Holding, Nketiah.
Yeah.
You know, they all started yesterday, and I'm sitting here saying that there's 3 more there that can go out in January. Not the summer, but if not January, you know.
Kolasinac is still here.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you know, when you see him coming on the pitch.
Talking tonight, he's in conversations about going to France, but not till the summer.
Right,
he's not going anywhere until he's free to get mega money.
What a surprise! Yeah.
Another one comes in from Kangaroo Jack. Thank you very much, mate. Lee says, let's be honest, this is just not good enough. We need to spend another 150 million on this team. We are not good enough. It's not good enough. We just won't improve.
Yeah, listen, I think that, you know, I think if you're going for the title, if you're serious and the board are serious about going for the title, they spend 100 million now and another 150 million in the summer. You know what I mean? Like, if they don't really want to go to the title, or what do you want, top 4 and whatever, like, you know, this is the thing that to be there. Look, listen, if Arsenal were going bought Vlahovic and they go and buy that Grameres, that's a statement. That's a statement of intent. You know what I mean? And you'd have to turn around and go, you know what? That's trying to push us towards the top 4. But then if you then got top 4, I'm pretty sure that we would spend. We would have to, because the squad ain't strong enough this squad is not strong enough to compete in Champions League and
League.
And the league. It's not strong enough at the moment to compete just in the league and the FA Cup, as proven. You know what I mean? So, Jack's right. We do need a big inject. And the thing is, like, if the Cronkies are not prepared to do that, then sell it to someone that is.
Well, that's not going to happen, is it, mate? This one comes in from Eric. Thank you very much, mate. By how do you pronounce that, please? Vlahovic, Lamptey, Gramoires, bring back Guendouzi and Saliba, retain Leno and Lacazette for the 2 years and clean up the rest.
Do you know, I will say this about Leno. I think that, Leno will go probably in the summer.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
But with my blessing, because I'll tell you what, he was superb yesterday, as you spoke about earlier. But his conduct has been just absolute class.
Yeah,
just
yes.
got on with it. Fair. Not moan, not groan, not throwing his toys out. I've got a lot of when things go wrong for you, the reaction sometimes tells you a lot. And his reaction has been absolutely first class. And I'll tell you what, every time he's come in for the Arsenal, in the games that he's played, he's never let us down.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. This one comes in from Robert Bailey, a Nottingham Forest fan. He says, your players just didn't turn up. Maybe it's an unhappy dressing room.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think
I can't agree with that either.
A lot to do with youth. What happened to us in the cup game there? A lot of those players, as I said before, I never played the FA Cup against men away from home at an iconic ground like that. It's a big occasion for a lot of them players. They didn't turn up to the occasion. They didn't play the occasion well because they haven't got the experience of playing. I think what happens with a lot of young kids is that they play well and they have been playing well. And they just expect to turn up every week, and they're just going to play well. They just think, we're going to play well today because we do. That's what we do. And then it doesn't go right, and they're looking around for some experienced heads to say, come on, lads, we have to dig in here because this ain't going. And they're bereft of leaders. And how many times have we said that, And sadly, as we've said, we was missing Xhaka Partey and Gabriel and Ramsdale and Lacazette on that pitch at the weekend, who is our leadership group.
Absolutely.
Maybe that is why Kieran Tierney was pulled on. Maybe it wasn't so much that Tavares was playing so bad. Maybe it was a case of putting on one of the new emerging leaders onto the pitch to actually get a hold of the game. Maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Robert, and congratulations on your win, mate. And good luck. Midlands derby in the next round against Leicester. I just want to finish on this. Lee, we'll come to you first. The EFL, I'm looking here on my phone. The EFL are under pressure to investigate Mr. Jurgen Klopp for this false positive carry on. He's come out in the press today, or I think it was yesterday, and has told everyone that, actually, we didn't have any players with COVID. They were all false positives. What's your feelings on that, Lee?
Well, I think, first and foremost, I've always had a lot of respect for Liverpool, going back with the Dalglish, Souness, Hansen era, Steven Gerrard, I'll always say is one of the best midfield players. Got a lot of time for Jurgen Klopp as well. He said that he's fantastic. They have gone down as a club, in my estimation, tenfold after what's gone on in this thing. Arsenal yesterday played a weakened team and everything like that. And we're ravaged with COVID at the moment and injuries and AFCON. We played yesterday. We played a few weeks ago at Norwich with Ben White having to play at right back. What they done was an absolute disgrace, not just for the game being off, because they played against Shrewsbury this week, and love and behold, all the cases that they've said that there were no goalkeepers. They played 2 days later. The training ground opened the day before. Now they've actually admitted it. But what I'm not concerned about the game being called. In fact, whatever. It's that the fact is that us fans and Burnley fans have had to change everything around because of them doing what they've done. You know what I mean? They've cheated. There's no two ways about it. Maybe that's a strong word. They've actually bent the rules in their favour for whatever reason, you know what I mean? what annoys me about it all is it hasn't affected not one iota Liverpool. It's not affected one of their fans because the Sunday they go down to Crystal Palace that weekend. But it's affected Arsenal. It's affected Burnley. Let's get this right, Burnley. Now my beef is for the match going fan that Burnley. If you go onto the website, it says 3 o'clock kickoff, so and so, subject to change because the TV may go into and all that. Burnley, nothing. It couldn't be subject to change because the TV games have been chosen, all that. It was a 3 o'clock kickoff. Along come Liverpool, do what they've done, and they've changed that game now. And the reason they've changed it, one of the reasons is because they didn't want to put it on a Wednesday because of, like the Premier League games. But where this makes it all ridiculous as well is that Leicester played on the weekend in the FA Cup and then straight after the game have called off their game on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, it's an absolute farce, all of this. Like, you know what I mean? It's a farce.
It's being used, I think. I think COVID is being used. Like Mark, me and Mark were having a conversation there on the WhatsApp group last week. And when he first mentioned it to me, I thought, no. But when you actually sit back and think about it, like all these Spurs games that got cancelled, just before those games got cancelled, they were rubbish, absolute rubbish. And their manager came out and said, I don't know what I've got to do here, this job, this. And then all of a sudden, they all go down with COVID. They're out for 10 days. And then they're training behind closed doors. And here we go. They're back.
Didn't shut the training ground, did they? Didn't shut the training ground, Tottenham.
Yeah.
No.
And then, and he's had time to, people might think, you're being a conspiracy theorist. But, like, if you actually sit back and think about it, it's an easy excuse to,
Say how it was, Craig. They've orchestrated through this COVID situation. What they've done is orchestrate a 2-week winter training break. That's what they've done.
Do you know another thing which they've done? The likes of this, particularly Tottenham and whatever, is that once you've had COVID, you can't get it for a certain amount of time and all that, right? Now, what the FA Cup is saying, if you get COVID, like, say Brighton get COVID now, I think Brighton have had it well, but I'm just using that there. You've got to play whatever team you can do. Spurs, they ain't going to have this COVID outbreak no more. So, like, they might have a nice little run in the FA Cup because of it all, like, And what fascinates me about it also, and you can go on to the Spurs thing. No one knows what Spurs players had it and whatever, like, you know what I mean? Oh, it's confidential. But Liverpool come out the following day and said, our assistant manager's got it now. Yeah. Well, why don't you name the player? If you're naming the assistant manager and Klopp has got, why aren't you naming the players? But we don't know who got, it's 3 goalkeepers, is it? You know what I mean? Love and behold, we played Thursday. Come Sunday, he's out there, the goalkeeper, making saves. You know what I mean? I said it yesterday. I don't care what people say and all that. I'm getting a lot of stick on Twitter, and I love it. Like, you know what I mean? Like those scousers, they get on my nerves. Like, I like Jurgen Klopp. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. And I'm going to say this now: as much as if it comes between them and Manchester City for winning the league, I will want Liverpool to win it because Liverpool, in my eyes, are a proper football club that haven't bought anything. They're a proper football club like Arsenal. That's why I always back them. But what they've done here is not right. And the Liverpool fans, I can tell you that now, right? Yeah, the Liverpool fans are being nasty, being defensive, being horrible. Why? Sign of guilt.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Karen brings in a lovely point there. Now, none of us are doctors or anything like that. Karen might be one. But this says here, apparently the chance of a false positive is 1 in 1,000. 13 false positives is astronomically impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I found someone said this now. I don't know if this is true, right? I don't know if this is true, but like a school teacher told me this, that people
You're not allowed to be hanging around schools, Lou.
No, that's why I don't. That's why I don't. And you don't with all those sweets, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, so, but what they're saying is that some of the students were putting citrus on their test things so they could get positive, so they could be off for 10 days at school and things like that. So I don't know if there's a way around it or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, but it is funny how, like, they've got all these tests and then he comes back in the following day and says, oh, no, with his big cheesy grin and his big teeth. No, it was all wrong. There was only one. You know what I mean? It's an absolute insult. And, like, you know what I mean? You know, if justice is done, Arsenal will beat them and everything. And I don't know why they've done it, because you got, like, a lot of Liverpool fans going, we don't want to be in the competition anyway, like, you know what I mean? We're trying to get out of it and things like, what a load of old crap. Why don't they just play the final?
Come on, man.
I know, you know what I mean? I just don't understand how they've got away with what they've done, you know what I mean? Like, and
well, they might not get away with it. I mean, like I said, the pressure is on. The people.
I don't know what anybody can do. What can they do, Craig?
True. Well, I mean, look, I mean, I know the. I mean, I'm in a group there with the lads from Total Screamers, of all Liverpool fans. You know, I was going into the chat, you know, on my own. It's like walking into a pub full of Spurs fans on my own, like, you know. But they were all, oh yeah, but we got this player's out, that player's out. But now this has come out. I mean, and for him to say, oh yeah, there were false positives and we only had one. Something's got to be done, Lee. There's got to be an investigation somewhere about what's happened. Boot them out.
There should be.
Yeah,
and the thing is, when
you can bet your ass. You can bet your ass. If it was us, the whole of the league would be saying, "Oh, investigate Arsenal, investigate Arsenal."
Do you know, right? This is a true story, right? This is a true story. Going back, like, we playing football once, and it wasn't my team that done it, right? But the team was playing a big cup game, yeah, and it was raining, right? And if the game was called off, they'd play another game in the midweek, and the two players could play in the cup game, like, you know what I mean? So what they done was they put hose on the pitch and left the hose running all night, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So when they've come over for the game, it's waterlogged, right? Game's called off. The two players that are suspended play on the Wednesday, and then they're ready for the cup game, like, you know. It does happen at levels, you know. So they've done that. That's the sort of thing they've done. Instead of getting the hose pipe out, they've got the COVID test out. You know what I mean? Like, it happens.
I hope they weren't on the water, mate. Oh, Christ, leaving that on.
I think they've done it from the river. They pumped it from the river, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Craig, from when Liverpool put in that request for the EFL to have the game postponed, I thought, you know what, they're going to call it off. But and then when I saw them put out the official statement on the Twitter about the game still going ahead against Shrewsbury, I thought, no, they're taking the absolute piss.
10 minutes afterwards, we're not playing Arsenal in the league. We're not playing Arsenal in the cup on Thursday, but don't worry, we'll see you 3 days later. See you at Shrewsbury.
And then I think Chelsea, when they played Wolves, or they was meant to play, was it Wolves away or at home? I can't remember. And the Premier League refused that. They put a request in to get the game cancelled, but the Premier League refused it. The EFL were not going to kick Liverpool out because nothing's going to happen because the TV money that the EFL are going to get from staging these two legs of Arsenal versus Liverpool around the world is probably more
too much money.
Than
it's too much money.
The
whole sponsorship deal, the whole tournament will be eclipsed by the commercial rights of these two games. Liverpool will not get kicked out because of money.
Another question I'll give to you as well, lads, is last week, the week before, there was about 10 games called off due to COVID-19 across divisions, right? Premier League, Championship, this, that, and the other. Last week. This week, a full round of FA Cup matches have gone ahead with not one cancellation for COVID-19.
Different rules, Craig. Different rules. They had to play these.
And the football and the FA and the league.
Is that right?
The league teams don't test like us, Craig.
Okay.
The Premier League.
Different rules.
That's ridiculous.
That's why Leicester could play on.
That's
why Leicester could play on this. They could play on Saturday, but they can't play. So different rules. So you know what I mean. And also, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I remember. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Tottenham are playing Crystal Palace, and Crystal Palace asked for the game to be called off, right?
Yes.
Remember that? And I was going mad. Like, Spurs, you know, this is what I was saying. Spurs, you know, they got their game called off, and they've now said that Crystal Palace can't get their game off. You know what I mean? When the team come out the next day, it was as I went, bloody hell, they're all there apart from one player. You know what I mean? It was a really, really strong squad, but they're trying to get that game called off. So, you know, why were they trying to get that game called off? You know, so there is a bit of bad boy tactics going on here, like, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Bit of shithousery, I think, is the word.
Yeah, and Liverpool are, you know, and Mr. Klopp have pulled a fast one. You know what I mean? Like, and do you know what pisses me off about Liverpool fans? Why don't they just admit, yeah, we pulled a fast one, but they don't want to. They're turning around and going. This is what they're turning around and going. Well, we ain't scared of playing you. You just lost to Nottingham Forest and all that. So why didn't you play it then?
Yeah.
What I will just say, Craig, to finish it off, is the way that their fans, Liverpool fans, conducted themselves on Twitter this week.
Yes.
Towards our friend and colleague Harry Symeou, bringing up fictitious allegations and whatnot against him, trying to get him in trouble with his work, and, you know, absolutely disgusting behaviour, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah,
absolutely, Matt. Couldn't agree with you more. To go after a man because he gives his opinion on why the game should have gone ahead. To do that to a fella, I just, you know, you've got to be very bored in life, haven't you? To sit on Twitter.
There are people like that.
Scroll through tweets.
Like that. Yeah.
Do you know? Scroll through tweets.
I don't mind them scrolling through tweets, but when they're actually editing and doctoring tweets, that Twitter have actually then verified and confirmed that the tweets have been edited.
Yeah.
And they're not what he said at all, and they're being branded around like they're his own words, and they're not. You know, we're getting in some serious bother here. You know what I mean? There's you know, there's levels, and they're just dragging through the gutter of it. You know, they're scum.
Absolutely.
Also, I've got to say this. All right, I've got to say this. I put a tweet out saying, like, you know, and it was a bit of tongue in cheek, like, you know what I mean. There's my three favourite teams in Liverpool are Everton, and I can't think of anybody else, right? And the abuse I got, you bald-headed twat, you bald-headed Tranmere are on the Wirral. They're not even in Liverpool, like, you know what I mean? Like, but, you know, why do that, you know, have to be nasty and say things like, you know what I mean? So I put back and said, sorry,
can't believe you forgot about Marine.
Well, yeah, I should have put Marine down there, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, but I'm not happy with Marine. They didn't but knock Spurs out of the cup last year. So I don't.
They tried, though, didn't they? Bless them.
It's been an absolute pleasure sitting here talking to you with all this evening. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in this evening. Over 200 of you watching us live. Thank you very much indeed. Just before we go, if I could ask you to hit that like button if you haven't already. Judges, thank you very much indeed.
Enjoyed it as always. Always a pleasure. I'm going to go and watch the last knock-ins now of the Aston Villa Man United game, which by all accounts in the chat seems like it's quite a good game.
Yeah, Aston Villa have just had a goal disallowed, I believe.
And that's another thing. VAR, right, is being in some games in not. You know what I mean? You can't have a competition where it. You know what I mean? VAR was about yesterday. They ball for the penalty for their goal. It's ridiculous.
It comes in the quarters. It comes in the quarters, isn't it, Craig? Is it quarters or semis?
No. VAR. This is what's happening. VAR's being used at Premier League grounds, but not anywhere else.
Yeah, ridiculous.
If you look at if you watch a Newcastle game, there was VAR on the Cambridge goal, but it got given. Okay. No VAR yesterday for a Stonewall penalty on Ben White. You know, if that goes to VAR, that's a pen.
Yeah.
Do you know? Exactly. But look, there's no point moaning about it. It is what it is. Mark, thanks very much, mate. Much appreciated as always.
You're right, mate. I've got a late night tonight, so I've got some podcasts to catch up on. There's some new bird on the Same Old Arsenal channel. I've missed a show. She did a show the other day, so I've got to go and watch that. Looking forward to it.
Do that without me? Did she do a new show? Did she?
I don't know. I thought you was doing a new show with
I'm
Amanda,
not. But you've walked me into it, lovely, because she starts on Friday. So Friday the 4th.
You done one the other day. You done one the other day.
Oh yeah, that was just to introduce her.
Oh right. Well, yeah, I'll go and watch that.
Oh, I'll go and watch that then. Much appreciated. Make sure you put.
I'll tell you what. I won't bother.
Just make sure you put a like on it.
Just give it a like, and I won't bother watching it. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, which most people do that anyway. She starts on Friday at 9 o'clock. She's going to be joined with a couple of her Tottenham Hotspur friends. I'm not too sure.
Get her
Can we have
off.
Tottenham Hotspur
Get
friends?
her off. What, is it possible to sack someone before they even start?
Yeah.
It's a bit, but look, she starts 9 o'clock. So be good to her and come and watch her. And I'm sure she'll bring a huge amount of knowledge and bit of a banter as well. Amanda coming in. Albert, thank you very much indeed, mate, for just like dropping everything and coming to be with us this evening. I really, really appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Where can people find you on YouTube, mate?
Thanks, mate. It's good to be back.
Oh, no, don't plug Lee Judge's TV. I've done that last week. Do your own one. Do your own one.
But it's great to be back, man, in the Steam company. So it feels good to be back, to be honest with you. It's nice to come back and share the platform with the rest of the guys. But yeah, got my own channels. People may know already, Albert J TV. Come and subscribe, people. And come and subscribe.
You won't be disappointed.
He still ain't invited me on, Craig.
Oh, hasn't he?
Nah, still not.
No,
still
no. Very bad. Very
Must
bad.
have forgot my email or something.
I apologise, Mark. It's coming
No,
soon.
don't. It's too late now.
Until we see you again next week, take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, up the Arsenal.